Can you believe she'll make you change a diaper? There's poo in that. That's a woman's job. Like, are you listening to yourself? Why do you want kids if you don't want them? Shouldn't have started that second Skyrim run. Now you'll be lonely. Where's the reward? You're insane. There's value to humans beyond money and youth. Shocking. And that's why society is collapsing, because these damn women, you know? Here is a channel called Wheat Waffle. This is a I-word channel who focuses a lot on women being wrong. I say with a very large parenthesis. And it's about men going their own way. So we've got a lot of content. Obviously, we're not going to be looking at a ton of it. But yeah, there's a lot of doomerism. Like, oh yeah, the West's inevitable collapse. Well, here, it's kind of positive. Ways to make the ultimate Chad. Like, yeah, the high value male. It's lies, it's evil. Like, the future is dark. It's very negative. Like, you don't go on this channel for self-improvement, right? You go to this channel to be like, oh yeah, I'm right. Yeah, these women, yeah, it's because of them that the West is collapsing. Yeah. You can already see it. It's just a preview, and it's like, oh yeah, the top 10% of men is getting 90%. Yeah, that bullshit again. And that's why society is collapsing, because these damn women, you know? Let's just go for the most recent one. The Great Exodus. Let's see what this very rational human has to say about men and women.
I said in the last video that in every Western country, marriage rates are at an all-time low. This
so is religiousness, so that makes sense.
Shows the general trend that less people are taking dating and settling down as seriously as they had been in previous generations. It's a matter.
Yes, we're focusing more on our careers because the economy doesn't allow us to just, start a family young. So that makes sense.
For a fact, if you're watching this video over 21 years old, if this was 60 years ago, there's a good chance you'd already be married by now and with a kid already on the way. Wow.
Yes, the socioeconomic situation was different. I agree. Yes.
Times changed. I also said in the last video that one of the main
Thank you, Ronald Reagan.
is because of women's refusal to settle for guys who are on their level.
Course.
In other words, women are walking away from dating in mass.
The only way that these work is because you need to stop living in reality for this point of view to work. People date at their level. They date people who are similar to them. Shared characteristics between partners is the most common predictor of if they're gonna be in a relationship. People of similar heights are together. People of similar weights are together. People of similar perceived beauty are together. The idea that, yeah, women who are 9 and 10, women who are 3s, they just date chads or 10. No. People who are of, let's say, average beauty, right? Using the 10-point scale, they're 5 out of 10, okay? When judging other people who are considered 5 out of 10s, they will over-evaluate their beauty. They will not say, that person's 5 out of 10, yeah, he's a 5. They'll overestimate it and say that, oh, that person's a 7. And when looking at an 8 out of 10, they'll say, that's an 8. And the 2, that's a 2. We see people who are similar to us, of a similar level of beauty, as more attractive than they are. Because, thank you, probably evolution, we see us as having more of a chance. It's more likely that I can get into a relationship. Like, if you're a guy that's average, you're nothing special, where are you going for the really, really hot chicks in high school? No, you look at the mid chicks and you were like, oh, yeah, I kind of think she's cute in a really, in her own unique way. That tends to be how it works.
However, what this video will be about is the extremely important male side of the matter.
Of course, we're focusing on the male.
And it doesn't take a genius to figure out, as a man trying to date today,
a bit faster.
Things are a lot harder. Dating is more competitive and worse in pretty much every way compared to how it was 50 years ago. So, with good reason...
It's later, no. I mean, I agree Tinder sucks, but it's not the only dating thing that you can use.
A lot of men have packed their bags and decided the juice simply isn't worth the squeeze. So, in this video, I'm going to be highlighting all of these reasons for how dating today may
Just like we saw with the I word post, this whole the juice isn't worth the squeeze.
worth the squeeze.
You're talking about self-improvement. If you're making yourself better to date a woman and it doesn't work, guess what? You still got better. If I play this guitar and I don't get a gig, which why would I? I still got better at it. That improvement is, it's 90% of the reason you're doing stuff. Like if I'm trying a new recipe, I'm trying to bake a chocolate cake and it turns out just okay. It was the first time I did that recipe. I got better at doing it. I'm now a better cook. Again, I teach social psychology class amongst others. Students, very dumbly, but I feel their pain. They focus on the results, right? What grade did I get? And I can't blame them. You need a certain grade to get into a good school. So you should be looking at, I got a 95%. Yeah, I got a 95%. What I try to grade their work on is, what did you learn? How did you improve? What was your process that led you to your conclusion? It's the process that's important. It's not the result. If you improved yourself and you got a girlfriend, great. If you improved yourself and didn't work out, the improvement happened. Frustrating. Getting into a relationship isn't the be all and all of your life. It's a small part of your life, especially if you're young.
So, in this video, I'm going to be highlighting all of these reasons for how dating today may not be worth it anymore. Reason 1. Guys, look at the reward for dating and just don't deem it to be very worth it.
I mean, economically, you're better off dating. It's an unfortunate reality. You're gonna save money if you're dating. Sharing rent, sharing food, sharing electricity. It's very unfortunate. It's very beneficial to be dating. So, yeah, if you're single, you're very disadvantaged that way. So just, from a purely mathematical point of view, it's worth it to date. Again, statistically, I'm not all that pro-marriage. Marriage is strongly correlated with happiness. It's also strongly correlated with a good income, so that might be more responsible for the happiness.
For these first 2 points, I think the work-reward balance is just not that good for dating anymore. We'll take a look at both, but starting with the rewards.
Okay, again, pretty simple. The reward from working on being a good date is not the sex you'll get. It's the improvement you've made in yourself.
I believe the average deal for marriage today is a lot worse. 60 years ago, you'd get married at 20 years old, buy an affordable house, and have a large family to look forward to. Only one of you would work, which unfortunately would be you as the man.
Yeah, no, marriage at 20, that's 50 years ago. 15% of men weren't married. They weren't in a relationship at all, let alone in a house. That's 25. In the 1980s, 30% of men, 25 to 34, were single. Like, the whole, at 20 you have a house, you're married, and it's not like this whole universal truth.
This meant that most child-rearing responsibilities were placed in the hands of your spouse. Your kids will move...
And that's not great, right? We can agree. Unpaid labor for women everywhere, that's not good, right? It's important to raise kids. It's very important. Does it make more sense for both parents to have a nice income and to be able to provide more for their kids? We have daycare, we have schools, and then when you're off work, your kids come home. But in those days, it wasn't easy for a woman to get a good paying job, so it made sense. It made sense because women faced, unfortunately, more discrimination. Today's better, which, great.
Move out in their late teens, which means you would be child-free come your 50s. So you would have a 20 to 30 year free period to look forward to with the person you love most. So that's...
Also now, life expectancy is higher, so if you, okay, wait. First of all,
you would have a 20 to 30 year free period to look forward to with the person you love most. So
isn't that completely fucked?
In the hands of your spouse. Your kids would move out in their late teens, which means you would be child-free come your 50s. So you would have a 20 to 30 year free period to look forward to with the person you love.
You have 20 to 30 years to look forward to with the person you love once your kids leave. Do you hate your kids? Like, if you have kids, you're still with your partner. I have 2 dogs. Do I spend less time with my partner? I mean, a kid is not the same, but it's like you're looking at having kids as a burden to do. It's weird.
Oh, that's all the reward before. However, nowadays, all of this is...
Actually, yeah, nowadays you get more rewards for being in a relationship. Now, if you're not in a relationship, you're not getting a house at all, ever, ever. Now the economy is more fucked. So it's more important to be in a relationship. It's more... Does this house exist if I'm single? Well, yes, but it's not in my name.
is considerably worse. Instead of a 20-year-old in-shape church girl, you're likely to get...
Oh my god, this fucking guy. Yeah, if you're not 20, you're worthless, girl. What is this?
a 30-year-old woman who's had a party phase and whose body fat is 15%.
Oh boy. Yeah, if you're 30, you're worthless. You're used up and fat. Are women's worth their youth? You could argue yes. That is how it's viewed. If you're a young woman, you're more in demand on the sexual marketplace. Is that good? Assuming it's true, is that good for a person's worth to be judged on their youth? Here's something funny about humans. We all get old. All. Time will happen to all of us. As you get older, what are you supposed to do? If you're a woman and you're 30 and you're having more trouble finding a match, this guy would say, get younger? You can't. It's dumb. As you get older, as women get older and men too, first of all, we get more money. Also, we get more skills, we get more experience, we're wiser, we've got our shit way more together. When you look at what we actually do, our skills, our personalities, our ability to handle ourselves, our knowledge of ourselves, our introspections, our skills at being in a relationship with someone, we get way better at everything. But we're wrinkly. Yeah, so being old physically doesn't do a whole lot. Being older mentally is a huge benefit. How can you not see that? And I mean, the wheat waffle, the guy looks pretty young. Yeah, like this guy looks pretty young. Looks younger than me. Little salt and pepper. When you be 30, 35, you look at 30-year-old women and be like, yeah, they're good looking. You might look at 30-year-old and not see the interest. When you get older, yeah, you'll be more attracted to them. It's normal. It's fine. But yeah, reducing someone's worth to their youth is really dumb. And also, I hold exactly the same point of view for men with money. Men are valued for their money, and that's stupid. They're valued more. Like if a woman makes 30K a year, it's not a deal breaker. If a man makes 30K a year, it can be. It's very stupid. It used to be important because men had to provide for their wives who couldn't make good money because, hey, feminism hadn't happened enough yet. But now it has. So money isn't the be-all, end-all. However, men are often still judged for their money. By both men and women. No one's safe from this. But, like, you can't just make more money. Money doesn't grow on trees. Good paying jobs doesn't grow on trees. And we also need men to work low paying job. If you're a nurse, you're making decent money, but it's not like you're not breaking the bank. But nurses are super important. Nurses are holding the world together. Teachers is instant collapse of society without teachers. Long and short term. If a man is a teacher, like he shows he's caring, he shows he's good with kids, he shows that he's educated. These are a great thing in a man. But his salary, it's not that great. So we're supposed to be like, yeah, you're worth it. Go away. Yeah. Poor. That's so dumb. You're worthy of love as a man, even if you don't break the bank. You're worthy of love as a woman, even if you're old and wrinkly at age 31. There's value to humans beyond money and youth. Shocking.
Higher. Of course, this is a generalization here, but when you look at the averages for age of first marriage and body fat percentage, then you could.
Yes, people get fatter as they get older. All of us! Unless it's unhealthy, yeah, maybe don't judge people for having some belly fat.
And you get this to spend the next 30 years of your life working to pay off a smaller but more extortionate house.
That's true and that's bullshit. Which is why having a partner who makes money along with you is good. It's something you want.
Furthermore, you'll need to take care of some child rearing responsibilities because both you and your wife will be.
Oh, the burden! You'll have to take care of the child rearing responsibilities. Oh! Can you believe she'll make you change a diaper? There's poo in that. That's a woman's job. Like, are you listening to yourself? Why do you want kid if you don't want them? You're like an 8-year-old who's like, I want a puppy. And the parents like, oh, but I'm gonna have to take care of it. But I want the puppy. Like, I want the kids. Oh, you're gonna have to take care of it. But I don't want to. It's the women's job. Where's the reward? You're insane. 3 minutes in.
Working, your kids probably won't move out until their late 20s because they'll be screwed with an even worse deal than you.
True. You'll share sometimes with your adult children. That's rough, buddy. Man, I'd hate to have kids and have to spend time with them. No, I want kids to, push them out as soon as I can. Of course. What's the point of kids if you can't just shove them out the door?
So you'll be lucky to be child-free and have retirement to look forward to come 60. So when you piece all of
He probably had a very bad relationship with his parents. Projecting hard.
this together, I think this shows it's obvious the reward for marriage is worse. Consider
It's worse because you have to take care of your kids and you'll have more money, which you need more now. And now, when you get married, you'll be older, but your wife gets older too because times work linearly. It's so asinine.
so compared to 60 years ago. But that's still only one side of the coin, because for the second point,
There was no side of any coin.
work that needs to go in to get the lackluster rewards is just ridiculous.
So the rewards are the same. You're just gonna spend times with your kids, so which is the point of a family.
I think it's undeniable more and tougher work needs to go in today for finding a partner than it ever was before.
Well, arguably no. Now we have dating apps, which should make things easier. We can all agree it's not. You can find a lot more potential matches, and by the time to get one that will lead to a good relationship, the amount of people you have to go through is way higher. So will you actually have an easier time? Well, case by case basis. Different dating apps tend to have different environments. I heard from people using it that Tinder is the worst for men, but other are better. But
60 years ago, there was intense pressure for women to get married as young as possible, and this is
because or else they would starve. Man, I miss the days when women couldn't work. Those were the days.
confirmed in the graph I already showed for the average age of marriage. So you were more or less handed a wife.
You know the problem with dating? Women's right. Am I right?
Whereas today, you'll likely need to go through the trenches of online dating, and for any man who's experienced this, who's not in the top 10%, knows how hard dating online can be. I won't repeat.
So yeah, obviously meeting people online has gone up because it started to exist. Duh. But yeah, it rose a lot during the 2010. I have no reason to think this graph is wrong. Yeah, met in church, gone down, obviously. What's that one? Met in primary school or secondary school? Yeah, again, that makes sense. You date later in life when you're no longer in secondary school. So yeah, makes sense that would go down. Through family, yeah, arranged marriage, not a great way to do things. Met through friends, I'd argue, and sometimes through work, gone up and gone down a bit. And through friends, gone down from 35 to 20. Yeah, I think I really think that meeting true friends is the best way to meet people who are good matches, because your friends know you, and whoever your potential partner is, their friends know them. So it's way easier to make a good match because you actually have access to intimate information about the person. But as I've said before, I do think it's bad that there's that now online dating is the most popular way to date.
Repeat too much of what I've already said in previous
Actually,
videos, but put simply, a significant number of women on dating apps put themselves,
better.
their kid, and even their dog above finding love. For men 30
Yeah.
and above, you'll know this to be true all too well. And as for guys from 18 to 30,
Wait, yeah,
Chad
sure.
Monopoly is
Hey, people having expectations and needs in life that are more than finding a relationship, yeah, that's normal, that's fine. Men should have that too. Why, as a less than 30-year-old male, do you absolutely need to find a partner now? Focus on your career, focus on your dog, go your own way. But for real, not just to complain about women. Like, yeah, it's fine. It's fine to want different things out of life than just a relationship. That's do that. Yes. Yes. Oh, but no, because you need to date a young woman, right? Is that it?
in full swing.
Anyway, Chad Monopoly.
Men in the top 10%. These are the guys that are hoarding all the women in their late teens.
So this number you get out, it's just from one Tinder study, right? On Tinder, yeah, it's a hookup app, and people, men are horn dogs on Tinder, so they just go yep, and now women have way more power, right? Tinder sucks. Now Tinder, that's just the met online, okay, which is at 40%. Well, 40% is a lot. Tinder is one of many dating apps. So let's say that Tinder is 25% of all dating apps, right? Of people using it are on Tinder. Actually, most people are on many dating apps. So this whole the top 10% of men are sleeping with 90% of women, based on one Tinder study. That doesn't apply to every other of these lines, and it doesn't apply to most of the red line.
These are the guys that are hoarding all the women in their late teens and
This whole thing, if it's true, again, a study, that's only true for about 8% of the dating market. 92% of the dating market is fine. This phenomenon does not exist. But you gotta focus on that 8%. Why? Because it confirms your beliefs. It allows you to blame women. This is what it is.
early 20s. These are the guys that are facilitating young women's party phases. So if you're an 18 to 30 guy, it's either be good looking and have success, or be in the bottom 90%.
Just get off Tinder, my friend. Just get off Tinder. That's all you have to do. Meet true friends.
And be competing for leftovers. And at best, you'll later get...
Also, competing for leftovers. Again, it's a turn of phrase. But if you're not in the top 90%, if you're not a top man, you just not a top man. But if you're not a top woman, you're leftovers. Do you hear yourself speak? Again, it's just a turn of phrase, but it's a bad look. It really makes you look misogynistic, and the rest, it doesn't help.
...a woman after her party phase is done and delude yourself into thinking you've gotten the last laugh.
First of all, the party phase, no. You know what women do in their 20s? They're focusing on their career. They're focusing on college. Like men, it's the same. Women in their 20s aren't going out partying like crazy animals. For the vast majority of them. Are some of them doing that? Sure, of course some of them are. Have you met women? I went to college. I got a bachelor in psychology. Very women dominated. Very women dominated. You know how the women in college spends their time? They study. They go to a party one or twice a semester. Most of them were in a relationship and not just doing hookups with chads or whatever. Yeah. Talk to women, please. I beg of you. Talk to actual women. Don't do interview in the street. Just talk. And there's partying in my tweets. No. Like, how many... okay. Like if a woman said to you, okay, in my 20s, I slept with 22 men. You'd say like, wait, that's a lot. That's a lot of men to sleep with. And you maybe it's too much. Maybe. If a woman in her 20s has slept with 20 men, that's on average one woman every 6 months. Now, again, according to you, it's super easy for a woman to get a date and fuck. So once every 6 months she partied. Is once every 6 months a party phase? Again, 22 is a pretty big number. It's, you know what? Let's take a look. What's the average number of sexual partners? For both sexes. Wait, I'm wrong. The average for women is 7. My 22 was indeed very high. 2017 survey of 2,000 people, very good sample size. Women between 25 to 44 had a median of 4 lifetime sexual partners, and men a median of 6. Men sleep with more partners than women. That's actually interesting. I thought that the old black pill people were exaggerating a small discrepancy, but actually no, it's the opposite. That's true. That's interesting. Women have an average of sexual partners, and men 8. Anywhere between 4 and 8 is considered average for men and women. 2014 from CDC, it's a bit old, but whatever. Before your 20s, 70% of both men and women have one or less partners. So 20s, the party phase. Okay, early 20s, 1/3, 0 to 1. 30, 2 to 4. 33 have had 5 to 9. We're getting up there. And 13, 10 and plus. So again, in 5 years, upper echelon, 9 partners, that's 1 every 6 months. Which is that's not insane to me, right? I wouldn't qualify that as a party phase. 87% of women have had less than 1 new partner every 6 months. It's not that much. And for men, 32.01, 25.24, 25.9, and 22 have had 10 plus partners. Men be fucking. Men do be fucking. Who knew? 25, 29, late 20s. So we're gonna have less people having less sexual partners because time moves forward. 25, 31, 24, 21. And for men, 17, 01, 26 as opposed to 31. 25 is the same for women. And 33, 10 plus partners. Men are having more sex than women. They are having more partners than women are. The men are having the party phase, accusing women of having this party phase. Meanwhile, in reality, men are having more sex. So, no, the idea of the women having a ton of sex early on, it's not real. Men have more sex than women in their 20s. They have more partners. They just do. It's science. I didn't make it up. It's fine if you find your partner in your 30s, but also that whole party phase, it's a lie. It's just, he's lying. Who knew? Everybody.
Now, this is just online dating, but if you are thinking you'll be able to avoid these trenches because you'll just focus on real life, then think again, because real
I mean, that's what people do. Both sexes.
life has also gotten worse.
True.
Not only does the monopoly of online dating suck away potential suitors from real life,
Again, no. Men are having more sexual partners.
but even if you want to focus on real life, wokeist culture has made it harder than ever.
Oh, the woke boogeyman, of course, obviously. You can't harass women anymore. Damn woke.
To meet a woman the old-fashioned way. In today's day and age, you can get accused of harassment for merely showing romantic intent in a girl.
No. You can get accused of harassment for harassing someone. Hi, can I get you? Hi, I saw you from across the room. Would you be interested in coffee sometimes? You're never gonna get called an harasser because of that. She might be annoyed with you because, she might have a life and be trying to go somewhere. The idea that women now will call you a sexual harasser or just, say this was harassment. This is in your head, my friend. This is all in your head.
Don't believe me? Check out my video on how I was accused for approaching women in public.
Oh yeah, that was a really bad video for him. Like, you see a random dude walking around on campus and be like, answer my question, answer my question. Yeah. And security came in and was like, yeah, what are you doing here? You gotta leave. Like, yeah, he wasn't asking them out. I classify that as harassment.
And this wasn't even for romantic intentions. This would have never happened.
Indeed. So kind of makes your point moot. No. If you harass women, you might get kicked out.
60
Don't
years
harass
ago.
women.
But today, if a woman feels you have sexualized her inappropriately, then by all means...
Again, yeah, sexualizing other people is bad. It's actually kind of fucked that we allow men to be sexualized without much standards. Saying, hey, I think you're beautiful, want to go out for coffee sometimes, that's not sexualization. Asking someone out is not sexualizing them. Sexualizing them is, hey babe, great clit in these jeans, wanna bang? Yeah, okay, that's harassment. Yes, it's a bit extreme, but
You have done that. You might have just gazed at her briefly or literally walked next to her while she was working out.
you know how common it is for women to get sexually assaulted? The numbers are very depressing. And you know how many people get convicted from sexual assault and rape? An alarmingly low amount. One of the reasons being that sexual harassment and sexual harassment is not a crime, but sexual crimes tend to happen in secluded, intimate places when there's no one else around, and it's extremely difficult to prove, right? If I walk to a woman and grab her boob in the gym, how can you convict me? Nobody knows I did that unless it's specifically filmed, unless there's witnesses and it's in sexual situations. It's very rare that there are witnesses. So, and obviously, humans are pigs, not just men, but humans, and men tend to do more sexual inappropriate behavior. It's something that happens a lot, right? It's something that we regulate a lot in society. Like rape is considered one of the worst crime you can do, and it's one of the oldest crime. Handling our sexual impulses is one of the challenges of human. It's something that's one of the most immoral thing we consider to be, right? And yet it's insanely common. It's super common, and people actually getting arrested doesn't happen. And the whole Me Too thing, right? That happened as a reaction to the complete lack of accountability towards men being inappropriate toward women. And you get so many situations, and the worst thing that happens, like, I don't know, Louis C.K., who was very sexually inappropriate. What happens? It's kind of a bump, like a dip in its career. What he did was sexual harassment, for sure. Go look it up if you want, but it's not great. And he didn't face much repercussion for it. I'm going to use rape here, but false rape accusations are just as common as false murder accusations. There's not an epidemic of women accusing men of being sexually inappropriate to them. There's an epidemic of sexual harassment. I laugh because it's sad. Talk to the women in your life. Ask them, if you know them well enough, if they were sexually assaulted. And you'll be amazed at how many of them were. Of all the women I know in my life, one, I feel comfortable saying that, yes, I know this person was never sexually assaulted. A.
If she feels sexualized, then her word means everything and your innocence means nothing.
I'm just going to use that video. All the
Now,
treadmills.
if she feels sexualized,
Dude's like, I'm going to take the one right next to you. Oh, she knows where this is going. You're, Mr. Man, you're not interested in the treadmill. You're interested in the booty. And here I am trying to exercise. So, no, I'm done. You know, I'm going to remove myself a little bit. Boop.
feels you have sexualized her inappropriately, then by all means...
This interaction.
You might have just gazed at her briefly or literally walked next to her while she was working out. If she feels sexualized, then her word means everything.
Which, obviously, that's a stage video. You know, why is the camera right there? And she reacted like that. But that kind of reaction, which happens, it's a result of a lifetime of poor experiences with men. Maybe that, if that video wasn't staged, maybe that dude is totally fine. He's a great guy and he's very respectful and he's gay, whatever. That reaction of just go away, I don't want this right now. It's a result of tons and tons of interactions that proved that reaction justified in our eyes.
And your innocence means nothing. The final nail in the coffin for those banking on so-called warm approach. Because even this has gotten worse. There has been a decline of social capital in recent decades. Church engagement is decreasing. Local pubs and nightclubs where you'll see familiar faces are slowly but surely dying.
Also, clubs were bad to meet people. Why are you going to church to get a girlfriend? Not the first place I'd go for a good time. Let's just say. Yeah, pubs aren't the worst place to find a girlfriend. I'll agree to that. To meet new people, yeah. I do agree. It's not social capital, but I do agree that meeting people, having places to meet people, it has gone down. You can meet tons of new people online, but the actual in-person interaction, that has gone down significantly, and that's pretty important. So I do agree that the whole moving online, it hasn't helped. And I talked about college a bit earlier, but now with distance learning being more popular, because we can do it now and it's safe and it works reasonably well, you do meet less people, and that leads to more social isolation. So I will agree that this new environment we're in hurts with finding potential partners. Absolutely, I agree with that.
People don't even go to shops as much anymore because you can buy everything online from...
And again, how often did you find a potential partner in a shop? You're going to buy stuff. Like, it's not a good place. Like, if you see someone while you're buying shoes and you're like, oh, she's cute, I'm going to ask her number. Like, you don't know her. She doesn't know you. Why would she be a good match? It's the same as Tinder, right? The problem with Tinder is you don't know if that person's a good match. You have only extremely preliminary, shallow information. If you were just picking someone up just because you saw them somewhere in a shop, it's the same thing. It's the same. In a bar, you can sit down and have conversations, so that's different.
Amazon. And some communities build fences around to lock themselves in. You can't
That's like boomer shit. That's irrelevant to you, my 20-year-old friend.
argue people don't interact with one another in their communities as much anymore. Again, if you don't believe me, I dare you to go to a densely populated city near where you live and board one of the trains there. You'd think because there's so many people crowded that these spaces would be oozing with life. But
You've never lived in a city, have you? Okay, I'm gonna explain this to you. If you live in a rural town, you don't get a whole lot of interactions because there's not a whole lot of people. Makes sense. So the polite thing to do is to talk to people because that's a rare thing to do. You have isolation and you break that isolation. When you see someone, you might be the fifth person that person saw that day. In a city, you see tons and tons of people. And the polite thing to do is to keep to yourself because you don't have a single moment of quiet to yourself unless you're home. So you respect other people by lowering the amount of social stimulation because you already get so much. In a rural town, you're understimulated. So you initiate contact more.
instead, watch as everyone is like a zombie with a miserable look on their face.
Also, they're going to work. Of course, they're miserable.
AirPods in, faces glued to screens. It's considered strange to even make eye contact with someone. So, ironically, the sense of community is 1,000 times worse the bigger the community is compared to smaller ones.
Yeah, community in cities is not found going to work in the subway. It's the places you visit, like local game shops, if you're a nerd like me, is where you find your sense of community.
So, this is just the first 2 points, but as all of this doom and gloom is happening within dating, what's happening outside is the polar opposite. Point 3. Outside of dating, there are now many more opportunities for happiness than ever before. Think about this for a second.
Okay, this is weird. So, for your point to work, whatever you're supposed to propose needs to be impossible to do while dating, right? Look at all the happiness opportunity you have if you stay single. These either have to be impossible to have while you're dating, or new development allowed what was only possible through dating to now be also possible through being single. That's the only way your point will work.
What is dating's main competitor?
Jobs? What?
You might think it's a bit of an obscure question, but actually think about it for a sec. I would say the main competitor for dating is dopamine and relaxation activities. The more time and availability.
Can you think of anything you can do in a relationship to generate dopamine? It starts with S and ends with X. You know, the point of a relationship is to do things together, including relaxing things. You know what me and my girlfriend did yesterday? We watched The Good Place. I already watched it, but now I watch it with her. And it was great. We're finishing it today, probably. And you know what else we did? We did the 18 plus, ha ha ha. And on New Year's Eve, we drank together. We got our dopamine. When you're in a relationship, you get those. You get those. You get it, right? Yeah. They're not competing. Being in the dating situation helps with relaxation and sources of dopamine, if that's what you're looking for. And your normal source of dopamine, like playing video games or jacking off to porn, are still there. They're still there. You just now have more options. Congratulations.
People have for these things, the less of a concern dating becomes for them. Think about it this way. 60 years
No, if you want these, dating is even better now. God. Dumbass.
ago, if you didn't have a TV in your house, let alone Wi-Fi, smartphones, iPads, Xboxes, online content, dating would likely take a much bigger level of bandwidth in your mind than it does today. After
all of these are improvement to relationships. All of these. You can game with your girlfriend. You can peruse social media with your girlfriend. You can watch TV with your girlfriend. All of these. All. And it's up to you, but in my opinion, these are better to do with someone else. Playing a video game, it's good. Playing and enjoying a video game with someone else is great.
It was either try meet people in the real world or sit at home twiddling your thumbs. But today,
like, he's talking about dating like it's this ordeal, this very difficult burden. Just talk to people. It's easy. And you know, ironically, the whole Netflix and chill is it means have sex. But you know what? Well, again, mid-30s. You know what's a good date to me? We go to one of the person's house. We chill. We eat. We watch TV. Maybe play a game. A date doesn't have to be stressful. It's kind of dumb that it is.
we now have all of these cheap sources of dopamine millimeters away from the second we wake up to the second we go to bed. My point is, all these sources of dopamine serve as distractions from what our biology has actually evolved for us to do.
So is your point that we should remove these distractions from our biological imperatives? Yes, that's your point. If it is, I can kind of see your point. It's not completely dumb. If that's your point, it's a bit essentialist, but you know, it's not the end of the world.
And I'd argue many men are unconsciously making a choice to avoid dating by having their time sapped away via these sources of dopamine.
It's not an unconscious choice to be like on social media. They're designed to be addictive. I mean, just the instant you're like, oh yeah, there's an unconscious choice to avoid dating, you're already a hack. I mean, not that you weren't before, but
If you play video games for 10 years straight, you haven't necessarily
Which is
chosen
good.
not to date. In fact, it probably didn't even cross your mind.
dude, I've been playing games for over 30 years. Hasn't hurt. Like, not only that, look, friend.
If you play video games for 10 years straight, you haven't necessarily chosen not to date.
You know who plays video games? Women. Numbers. In 2023, year of our Lord, in blue, male, in black, female. 53% of male, or of the video game players are male. 53% of video game players are male, and 46% are female. Everybody plays games. You spend 10 years playing games? Why don't you spend 10 years playing games with a girl? They're into it now.
In fact, it probably didn't even cross your mind. But it is the unspoken opportunity cost that has taken you out of the dating
See, your brain's doing magic so you don't date. That's why things are going bad. It's the magic brain. Yes, listen to me, I'm very smart.
markets. Now, the number of men pursuing this way of life is undoubtedly increasing. Ask yourself, how many guys do you know who live as basement dwellers playing Valorant and Skyrim for 12 hours a day?
I mean, has that number gone up? Can we find that number? Trying to find numbers on this. And according to Statistic Canada, which is the best kind of statistics, the people who report the highest levels of loneliness are young women. So social isolation seems to be worse for young women, which I don't. That's counterintuitive to me, but it's what the statistics say. Yeah, 15% of women aged 15 or older say they felt lonely, compared to 11% for men. So it's still a problem for men, but it's more common in women. There are more losers playing Valorant at home who are women. Feminism. Whatever.
Loads. And that's why this point probably makes me the most sad out of all the 5 listed in this video. Because I think it's a very unhealthy way to quit dating as a man, unknowingly allowing yourself to rot.
And it's more common amongst women.
I mean, I think
Fucking
there's a
crazy,
difference
though.
between voluntarily quitting dating because you've listened to the other points in this video and made the conclusion dating isn't worth the squeeze, versus being blissfully unaware, letting time slip through your fingers, and you've spent so much of it rotting that by the time you think you should start making an effort, it's probably too late. All that binging dopamine.
Yeah, fatalism again. Like, oh, it's too late. You've gamed too much. Shouldn't have started that second Skyrim run. Now you'll be lonely. You know when it's too late? When you're dead. As you get older, people find matches. They get in relationships. It's not too late. And these videos are made for like 20-year-olds and teenagers. And as we've seen from the numbers, single numbers drops in your 30s.
For nothing.
And you're not helping. Like you're saying, oh, the Chads are gonna get all the women and you'll get the leftovers. So you're saying like that's a bad thing that you get into a relationship later. Right? That's your point. It's bad to get into a relationship later. And now you're telling them, oh, actually it's also too late. Like you're just pushing them towards loneliness. With waffles, you're contributing to my loneliness. You're not helping, you're not enlightening them, you're pushing them towards it.
So all I'll say...
Date a 30-year-old woman. They're out there. They'll fuck you. No, they won't. You're not good enough. You'll be good enough at 30. You're immature. And apparently misogynistic if you're watching this.
is that if you are genuinely thinking about quitting dating as a man, then make sure it is an active decision which you've evaluated thoroughly. Because...
You know what, with Waffle? If you want to quit dating, go ahead. Shut up, stop making videos, go live your life, stop talking about it, stop thinking about it. That's what going your own way would be. Stop. This video was posted today, I think. No. This video was posted 4 days ago. You're not going your own way. You're whining about women non-stop. You haven't quit dating. You're complaining that you're bad at it.
Because there are opportunities nowadays to pursue higher pleasures, such as a business, passion, or hobby which you're very serious about. And you're more than welcome to pursue these if...
And is your hobby complaining about women? Yes. Yes, it is. My hobby's complaining about you, so I'm not better.
You think you'll gain more happiness from this over the course of your life than pursuing a partner and kids. Anyway, that's point 3, and now moving on to reason 4. There are basically zero societal expectations for you to get married and start a family now.
We just read like a manifesto from an incel that's like, you gotta continue your bloodlines. My inheritance is gonna be cut off if I don't get a girlfriend. No, it's still seen as normal to be in a relationship now. Yeah. I think it's fine to not be in a relationship, especially in your 20s. Like, yeah, it's fine. To go with the outlook that I'm gonna live my life, and if I'm in a relationship, great. If I'm not, great. That's good. Live your life for yourself, for your needs. That's good. But I'd say no. It's still women still get weird looks if they're single at a certain age and if they don't have kids by a certain age. And if a woman says she doesn't want kids, oh, that's all. There's still societal expectations. And I don't think they're good, but they're there.
60 years ago, even if you wanted to do what I mentioned in the last point, spend your life at home rotting and binging dopamine. You didn't
Like, you think this is bad. Like, what is your message? Like, do you want men to go their own way? Yes? Don't call that rotting away. I'm sorry. If I was a billionaire, soon, if I was a billionaire, you know what I would do with my life? Stay at home, play video games, and travel sometimes. Because these are things I like to do. I also take care of my dogs and play music, but I'm a well-rounded adult. I'm sorry. But if I wanted to just play video games or stream video games all day, sure, why not? If it's something you want to do, yeah, yes. It's a good time. Find happiness. Don't shame others for trying to do that.
really have the option to do so, because it would eventually get to the point where your parents would be sick to death of your existence. They'd kick you out the house and leave you to fend for yourself. Back then, as soon as you became an adult, it was a matter of find a partner, then get married, then start a family, then work for 40 years, or...
Also, at 18, do you think you are ready for marriage? Do you think you are ready for a family at 18? Not only are you not all that mature at 18, your brain's not done developing, right? Finding a partner and getting married is a massive decision. Massive, massive. At 18, you don't know what you're going to want out of life. Again, your brain is not fully developed yet. You're not a full person yet. Sorry, 18-year-old. You're going to get better. You're getting smarter as you grow older. It's fine. You're not done gestating yet. And then when you're about 25, you are. And then it's all downhill. But when you're 25 and even older, now you have a much better understanding of what you want in life. Starting a family at 18, disaster. This recipe for disaster.
or rot in the streets. In some circumstances, your parents would try to set you up with a daughter from another family if it's meant...
And that was bad. Yes, that's a bad thing to do.
It's moving you along in life. However,
Who should be my lifelong partner? I don't know. That loser over there. She has a bagoo. Good enough, I guess.
today, there simply isn't this pressure, let alone force to try hurry you into getting...
Which is good.
Today, if you want to live at home, rotting, playing video games for 12 hours a day...
Rotting, yeah. If you want to enjoy yourself. Like some people take sabbaticals, right? And what do they do? Well, they can travel during their sabbaticals. Why? Because it's what they want to do. Great. If someone takes a sabbatical, what am I going to do during my sabbatical? I'm going to play video games for a whole year. If that's what you want to do, go get it, Tiger. It's not what I would do, but I'm me. This person is him. He can choose for himself. I'd question if I was addicted, though, at that point.
A lot of parents will give you that freedom until you're 30. Something that...
No. No. Most parents will ask you to work a job, be studying something. They're not gonna let you sit at home for 12 years doing nothing. I don't think that's bad to push your kids to do better. But to take some time off, yeah, that can be fine. Until you're 30, that's not happening.
would have been utterly laughable just 2 generations ago.
It's still not happening. Again, join us in the real world, Wheat Waffles. You stop saying dumb shit.
Additionally, another point that got the ball rolling for couples back then was what's known as shotgun marriages.
That's a choice. But okay, shotgun marriages, sure.
Where, if you got a woman pregnant, you'd more or less be forced to marry her.
And that's extremely bad, right? It's extremely bad that back in the day, women got accidentally pregnant, they were forced to keep it, and men were forced to marry them. Do you know how many husbands were poisoned by their wives back in the day? It's more than you think. How to get out of an abusive relationship? Can't get divorced. No fault divorce doesn't exist. A little bit of surprise in the coffee in the morning.
idea being that if you didn't
That was
marry
not
her,
good.
her father would come round your house with a shotgun and use it to persuade you.
Which is, of course, monstrous. The Are you saying that the best marriage come under coercion?
There was no
You're
birth
fun.
control back then, and abortions were heavily frowned upon, if not
And now, if you don't want to have a kid, you cannot have a kid. Freedom has happened. America! Or is that bad, Wheat Waffle?
illegal in some nations. So if you got a woman pregnant, you had little room to worm your way out of it. However,
Again, yep. You weren't forced into a relationship you didn't want.
you are free to run around dating casually or stay at home rotting. In fact, you basically have the freedom to
Oh no, life is better. What are we gonna do? We're gonna enjoy life now. Oh, the worst. We're in hell. We get to enjoy life. Oh, where's the suffering? Where's the pain of being forced to marry someone you don't care about and raise a child for no reason? That's what we want.
do anything throughout your teens and 20s with little to no urgency to rush into a relationship or marriage.
Yeah. Let's not rush into our lifelong thing, right? Right. Let's take our time. Let's figure shit out. Yes. Yes, that's great, right?
Society just doesn't care about these things anymore.
Yeah.
In some cases, kids are seen as a nuisance or hindrance to yours or
Yeah, if you don't want kids, don't have them. Yeah.
lifestyles. No wonder the birth rate in basically every Western nation is collapsing.
It's fine. Well,
Finally,
so economic collapse, but we're already fucked with the economy. Yeah. There's plenty of humans. We've got room in Canada, but there's a limited amount of habitable space on Earth. Like, not everywhere is a good place to be. Like, most of Saskatchewan sucks. We could do with a slightly reduced birth rate. I'm not saying let's kill humanity off or anything, but it's fine if there's a bit less human in the next generations. Nobody died. There was just less birth. A human being birthed isn't like good or bad. Like, it's neutral. What that human does in its life, yeah, that's either good or bad, depending on what they do. And if there's less humans, well, there are less humans to do good, there's less humans to do bad. And since there's less of them, it's a bit easier to manage. Kind of.
moving on to the final reason why men.
Okay, I will give him some credit. He did not specifically say that it was bad for people to be able to enjoy their lives and make choices about their lives. It's what he implied. I don't know if he was smart enough not to say that having the choice to marry someone you want and having the choice to have kids is bad, right? I don't know if he just forgot to say it or if he's smart enough not to say it, but it really feels like he thinks that's bad.
Anyway, finally moving on to the final reason why men are walking away from dating. Reason 5. There are way higher stakes to getting married and starting a family nowadays. Here are the facts. The average net worth of most families has increased twofold in the last 30 years. Would you want to risk losing half of it in a divorce? Not including...
Well, funnily enough, wow! The family's net worth has really increased in the past 40 years. What are those lines? What are those? What? Oh. Black and Hispanics weren't doing so well. Maybe not everybody's having a good time in America.
The lawyer fees, potential alimony payments.
Also, lawyer fees, alimony payments, yeah. Questions. Why do you think that you're going to be the one paying more in a divorce? Women are getting educated now, right? They're getting good paying jobs. If the net worth increases for both parties, wow, if your girlfriend's making more money than you, cha-ching. Why are you obviously, men on average make more money still. This entire time, he's been promoting like the time where women were forced into relationships and the good old days when they couldn't get a good job and well-paying job. Do you think he supports women's right and their ability to make more money? If women made on average 50K more a year than men, do you think he'd say, oh, that's fine, that's neutral, or that's good? He'd say that's a bad problem. And now he's like, but if there's a divorce, then men are gonna be paying more.
And child support. Furthermore, in parallel to this, the probability that you'll end up losing half your net is higher than ever before. As I'm sure a lot of you
Yes.
already know, the probability of divorce is close to 50%. A literal
Yes, people are now able to get divorced. They're able to choose. They're able to. Yes, we have more freedom now. Yes. Can we. Can this stop? Can we stop saying that's a bad thing? When a divorce happens, it's because shit wasn't working out. Generally, we're getting more divorces now because we're able to.
coin flip. Would you want to flip a coin to risk losing half your net worth? This is why a lot of people view marriage as a negative free roll. At best, it will lead to neutral outcomes, and at worst, it will lead to negative outcomes.
Again, people in marriages make more money than people that are unmarried. Being in a relationship gives you so much money. It helps you so much. You save so much money on rent, and you save so much money on food. It's such a net benefit to be married. It's insane. It's insane to try and go against it. Like,
now, me saying all this, it might not be relevant to you, because you might be religious and believe it's your duty to get married because
Almost
God
done.
told you to. But first, nowhere near as many people are religious anymore. And
yes,
second,
we're moving away from religion to a more secular worldview.
So don't shoot the messenger here.
This entire video is just, oh, things are better now. It sucks.
They are thinking rationally of the pros and cons of getting married. What I'm saying is, if you want to get married because you're religious, then you're more than welcome to. But I'm speaking for the majority of young men who aren't and thus should view marriage as a purely logical decision. So, if you are non-religious, then marriage is literally a contract. I'll say
Yes,
again.
that is what.
If you are
That's what marriage has been for thousands of years. The whole marriage is religious is a recent development. God
religious,
damn it.
then marriage is literally a contract.
So ignorant of the
Nowadays,
actual
you know,
life.
It's this mystical, magical thing where you're making God proud and raising a family. All
Yeah,
in His name.
that's kind of
If you
dumb.
sign your name on that dotted line, you're basically agreeing to a 50% chance of losing 50% of your net worth. And let's
Women also have net worth.
not forget the 20k party that lasts.
Also, who's talking about marriage anyway? We're talking about relationships and dating. Nobody's getting married anymore. Well, nobody. Not a whole lot of people.
Paying for.
This has nothing to do with dating. Nothing.
I recommend to any man looking to get married, it's always a good idea to sign a prenup to ensure your wealth gets divided fairly, in the not so unlikely chance you split up. Anyway, that's the final point of the video and wraps up why men are choosing not to date or pursue marriage anymore. If
Ah,
you enjoyed
that was
this
a waste of
video, I
time.
recommend checking
Not that I'm surprised. So, the only way you hold these points of view if you're not living in reality and you're just choosing to ignore what people lived experience actually is. And again, this guy's just pushing for people to remain single. After reading this or watching this, are you going to go, oh, yeah, sure. I'm going to keep that in mind to be in a healthy relationship? No.